the climate around the queer community. You know, ever since I've been running for higher office, it is unfortunate that every single year, the number of anti-LGBTQIA bills introduced across the United States just keeps getting higher and higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we have so few openly queer people representing not just in Congress, but on all levels of government. It's extremely disproportionate compared to the actual number of queer people that exist in society. In 2026, we've had over 700 anti-LGBTQIA bills introduced at the federal level, at state levels. And when I say anti-LGBTQIA, what I actually mean is mostly anti-trans. And I believe there's only 2 states that have openly trans representatives at the state level. We've never had an openly trans person here in California, despite this idea that California is this progressive safe haven for queer and trans people. And in many ways it is, especially when compared to red states. But as a good friend of mine says, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And trans people are very much on the menu right now. We have even had anti-trans legislation introduced here in California this year even. And when you don't have any actual trans people at the table, it doesn't make sense. We don't get to be there to defend ourselves and say why this is wrong. And it's not just queer trans people. It's, these are intersectional issues.
Yes, yeah. So many thoughts. First of all, the whole, all of this anti-trans legislation coming in. Obviously, there's transphobia out there, but these bills are not representative of, a huge public who's so anti-trans and even cares or thinks about this stuff. All of these bills are coming from a couple rich weirdos.
Yep.
It's bullshit. They shouldn't be allowed to waste our fucking time with this.
Totally. It is a distraction, and it is mostly being brought forth by the right.
The McMahon.
I want to say the alt-right, but at this point, the whole right is alt-right. And I think it's a distraction from the issues that actually impact everybody in this nation, in this state. People are struggling to afford healthcare, housing, education, gas, groceries. And it's really easy to just point over there and it's, actually trans people are the problem. Undocumented immigrants are the problem. That's not what they actually call undocumented immigrants. But it's very easy to pick out these scapegoats, especially because they represent such a minority that they don't actually have a voice. And so if you think about those two communities, trans people, undocumented immigrants, we have very little, if any, representation in governments. And so none of these people are going to be able to stand up and actually say in front of the public, no, you are wrong, when actually they are wrong. So it's this big distraction when what people actually need right now is economic equity, human rights, social justice, and affordability. People just want to be able to exist, and they're struggling to, and yet there's this big conversation around trans people.
Yeah, it's really fucking annoying. And I definitely see overlap between the trans community and undocumented immigrants. A lot of legislation goes after both of them at the same time. A lot of these stupid fucking laws, try to target hospitals, for instance, for if you treat trans people, we'll take away funding. If you treat undocumented people, we'll take away funding. They're using the same mechanisms.
Yeah.
I also, certain people will think this sounds totally galaxy-brained, but I see so much overlap with trans people and Muslim Americans because there's just so much stupid propaganda about those groups by a tiny, tiny population of people. And there's so much bad faith. Of course, you've heard in Gaza, they would throw you off a building. Bitch, there are no buildings. You blew them up.
Hello. Yeah, the pinkwashing. It's so absurd. It's so absurd. And they also neglect to, whenever they make these kinds of statements, they neglect to mention that here in the United States, we have more than 700 anti-LGBTQIA bills. Here in the United States, they'll tie you to the back of a truck and drag you until you die. In Israel, they gay people can't even get married.
Yes, exactly. It's really fucking insulting for you to tell me as an American that it's so uniquely horrible for gay people in Muslim countries. Like, shut up.
Shut up.